but particularly in Atlantic Canada, where we all have our roots. Some of us have gone off to other parts of the world in the course of our careers, but we all have our roots in Atlantic Canada, and we've recognized an opportunity, and that opportunity is a sad one, but it gives us a positive initiative, and that is that women are not participating in the innovation-driven economy. And I think we see that across Canada. We see that across North America, and it extends to the European continent where I'm from as well. Women are not participating, and we're creating a totally new economy that's driven by innovation and excitement and growth, but women aren't participating. So what we are going to enable with the platform that we're creating is to encourage those women to look at us and to say, wow, if they're becoming involved, there might be an opportunity here for me. So what we're trying to do is to build a fund that will activate capital, activate participation of women, and provide visibility and mentorship from those women to help other female entrepreneurs to build and develop good businesses as well. And we're not doing this as a charity. We are doing this because we know, and there are very, very significant statistics that indicate that women-run businesses or diversely run businesses, we're not trying to create a separate ecosystem. We're trying to create equality. Not because equality is the right thing, but because equality delivers the best business results. And having diverse minds around a table will ensure that you are coming to the best business decisions, enabling you to grow your business effectively. And the fact that it is inclusive is an added bonus, but the fundament behind it is that it's a very smart thing to do.
Right. And we've seen this already with other institutions. Goldman Sachs has launched their $500 million Launch with GS program, which is focused on investing in women funds and women-led companies. What I find interesting with that particular organization is that they're investing off their balance sheet. This is not a separate fund. And they follow a similar ethos to yours, which is that there is both a moral and an economic imperative to investing in great founders who we know are underrepresented as a result of structural barriers, and funds that recognize that and appreciate that, I think, can make a meaningful impact and generate sustainability, right, in the form of economic return. So maybe from that perspective, when you think about NACO, we're hosting this summit. You were an amazing moderator on stage. What can we do as an organization to help enable your mission and to help your fund achieve its fullest potential?
I think there are a lot of things that you can do and that we can do together. The first thing is just this sort of gathering, bringing people together that have the same perspectives, that have capital, that have the capacity and the interest in driving this ecosystem and in doing it in a good way is invaluable. I think NACO is doing excellent work also in your education stream and ensuring that people have the confidence, have the comfort, and are making the right choices. So I think that's an excellent initiative as well. And you are using those tools, that network and that education process to help to unlock capital. And that is fundamental for us as well. And essentially our ideology is specific to gender diversity and diversity as in totality, but the initiatives that we're implementing are very, very similar. And I think we can work very, very closely together to drive success ourselves from this region, to act as your arms on the ground, to embrace more and more people who are joining the ecosystem with their capital, with their expertise. And you can help us to access the rest of Canada and the rest of North America with your network. So I think there's a number of very exciting synergies.
Last night's gathering.
Yes.
You have some very, very impressive individuals behind the establishment of this fund.
We do.
Can you speak to some of your conspirators, some of your supporters that are helping to bring this fund to fruition, and and maybe provide some context in terms of the fundraising process and where you see, how you see that developing.
Absolutely. I'll talk first a bit about our co-conspirators, and to go through all of their pedigrees would be extremely time consuming. But the interesting thing about that group of women is that we come from very diverse backgrounds, but we have all been very successful in the businesses that we have run and are running. We have the CEO of a Crown Corporation power company who has a great background in energy and is running $1 billion company. We have a fabulous data scientist who works for Microsoft. We have a woman who has driven the entire retail economy in Newfoundland. We represent, I think, 8 different industries. We've generated billions of dollars of revenue in the companies that we've built and developed, and we've been through IPOs, we've been through acquisitions, we've built and grown companies, and that capability is what we will lend to the portfolio companies that we will help to grow in this environment as well.
Raising capital for any fund is a significant challenge, and in Canada. And so raising fund for an initiative that has an economic focus, but can somehow perhaps be perceived as being philanthropic. How do you get over that hurdle? How do we get the big institutions to back you? Especially given that the fund is in its infancy because of the structural barriers that exist.
Yes. A lot of it is about keeping a very consistent message, but tailoring that message effectively to the audience. And we do have a very consistent message in that we are driving to develop gender diversity in venture capital. And we're doing that by unlocking capital. We're also doing that by providing education. And that speaks to a very broad group of organizations. And that is enabling us to access federal government money, provincial government money, and private capital. But if I'm having a conversation with a potential private investor, I'm going to talk about the impact that they can make, and I'm going to talk about the return that they can achieve. And if I'm talking about to the province, I am going to focus very much more on how we're going to build and develop companies here and what the export potential is of what we're doing. And if I'm talking to the federal government, I'm going to talk, of course, about the returns that we're going to generate, but also the fact that we're going to be creating jobs and putting Atlantic Canada on the map as a leader in a gender diverse growth of the ecosystem. And those things are all part of the package that we are. It's just a matter of managing the conversations in the most effective way and pulling that entire package together, but placing the emphasis where it makes sense to your audience.
Mm-hmm.